In this lesson, we'll be adding and subtracting mixed numbers. So when we have 3 2/5 plus 4 1/10, we notice the fractions are not alike, so that means we need to find the least common denominator and write the like fractions. Now when we do that, the whole numbers are going to stay the same. We're only going to be changing the fractions, just like we did when we added and subtracted unlike fractions. So we have 2/5 and 1/10. We'll take the higher denominator 10 and list its multiples until we find something 5 can go into. Well, the first multiple of 10 is 10. 5 can go into 10 evenly, so 10 would be the least common denominator. We're not worrying about this whole number for a moment. We're going to kind of block that out of our minds, and we're going to skip over it and do 5 times what is 10? 5 times 2 is 10. 2 times 2 is 4. So 3 2/5 becomes 3 4/10. Here in this fraction, the denominator stayed 10, so the numerator is going to stay 1. So now we can add. We add the fractions. 4/10 plus 1/10 is 5/10. And then the whole numbers, 3 plus 4 is 7. Then we have to still ask the same questions. Is this fraction improper? It's not. Then we have to see if it can be reduced. Well, since 5 can go into both 5 and 10, we do have to simplify this. Remember, when we simplify mixed numbers, the whole number stays the same, and we only reduce the fraction. So 7 1/2 would be the answer. This is another addition problem. We have 5 2/3 plus 2 7/10. Then we need to find the least common denominator for thirds and tenths. 10 is the larger denominator, so we'll list its multiples until we find something 3 can go into. The first multiple of 10 is 10, but 3 can't go into 10 evenly. 10 times 2 is 20, but 3 can't go into 20 evenly. 10 times 3 is 30, 3 can go into 30 evenly, so 30 is the least common denominator. And 3 times 10 gives us 30, 2 times 10 would give us 20. 10 times 3 is 30, 7 times 3 would give us 21. So now we add these. We add the fractions would give us 41 over 30. And we add the whole numbers. 5 plus 2 is 7. Then when we ask, is it improper? Yes, 41 over 30 is improper. So we need to fix it. Now, for a moment, we're just going to list the 7 because it's a whole number. There's no fixing needed there. It's just the 41 over 30 that we're going to have to, remember, divide 30 into 41 to find out what mixed number this is going to become. So if we do this, make sure everybody's following with me. 40 over 31 would become 1 11/30. So this number I'm getting here, I'm just bringing over, and I'm going to have to add it back into the 7 wholes we already had, and that would give us 8 11/30. And there's nothing that can go into 11 and 30 evenly, so that would be our simplified answer. So again, what we did is for a moment, this mixed number, which had an improper fraction as part of it, we simply brought the whole number down and kind of saved it on the side, and we dealt with it after we fixed the improper fraction. We had to take this improper fraction, 41/30, and bring it over here and find out what mixed number it would equal. We found out it would equal 1 11/30. So we brought that here and added it back to the 7 wholes we had before. 7 plus 1 gives us 8 11/30. The fraction just comes over. Now to subtract mixed numbers. It's just like adding in the sense that we have to find common denominators. The same way that we did. 8's the larger denominator, 4 can go into 8, so we'll use 8 as our least common denominator. 4 times 2 is 8, 2 times 3 is 6. Here the denominator stayed the same, so the numerator stays the same. We're subtracting this time. 6/8 minus 5/8 is 1/8. 6 minus 3 is 3. The fraction is not improper, and nor can it be reduced, so 3 1/8 would be our final answer.